Good Novatos, thanks for tuning in to yet another video. Infamous here, San Jose, California. We're already in January 2021. Now it's been officially 1 year of ownership of my 2020 Lowrider S. I'll be sharing my thoughts on this beautiful bike, of course, and I'm going to be giving you guys my own opinion, input of this Softail Lowrider S. As you can see, I've done quite a bit of modifications to the bike, but I still remember picking it up back in February of 2020. Like if it was yesterday, quite honestly. And the experience of the dealership, I'm gonna just leave that to the side. You guys already know what happened. And here she is. 1 year later, I do not regret going through all the BS that I had to go through to get this beautiful machine. Quite a bit of hassle, a lot of emotions, a lot of different things happened for me to finally make this my dream come true. I've been wanting a full-size Harley-Davidson for some time now, and finally, after working a lot of overtime, after working my butt off, the old-fashioned way, I was finally able to get this, after, riding metrics, riding Sportsters, riding different types of bikes, finally able to make my dream come true. This is what I had visioned since I was in my early 20s. I've always been a fan. Seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2, that's what had me fall in love with these bikes. My dad was a big movie guy, so he would always take us to the movies, and that's where I believe I saw my first Harley-Davidson was on the big screen. And I've been chasing this dream ever since. And here she is. Of course, you can see she's a little dirty. Haven't washed her in a couple weeks. But you know what? Let's get back on topic. Let's go ahead and talk about my Lowrider S 1 year later. After watching Night King's review on the Lowrider S, I kind of realized, I believe this bike's gonna fit different. You're gonna have a different opinion on the bike depending on your size. I'm 5'7". I'm shorter than most people. 5'7". I weigh in about 170, and Night King himself, I believe he's. Come on, you gotta like that. You gotta like that sound. Night King himself, I believe, is he's like 6'1", 6'2". I'm not sure. I saw his review on the Lowrider, and I know he's a lot taller than I am. That's for sure. And he was talking about how cramped he was on the bike, and I believe he liked a lot that the Harley Lowrider S was offering, but I think when I first picked this bike up from the dealership a year ago, I came to realize, it had a couple flaws. It's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. Absolutely nothing's perfect. And seeing his video and hearing what he had to say, I had different issues at being a shorter rider, being 5'7". I was having some problems with the seat, mainly because my shorter legs and the controls, the foot controls being slightly forward mids. I would always see myself, or I would always catch myself sliding back into the seat, the stock seat. Of course, that's what I'm talking about. I would see myself every time I would get on the bike, I would slide back. So having the Saddleman step up really helped that. It improved the whole feel of the bike. So, and other cons other than that, the bike from the factory, it's absolutely, it's a beautiful bike. You have inverted forks, dual disc brakes, you have 5-inch risers, And the whole setup is nice. It's kind of flawless the way it is. The color scheme, I absolutely love the color scheme, the black and gold, or the black and bronze. The wheels are nice too. The style of it, compared to what Harley-Davidson has. I believe these wheels are gorgeous. So, reviewing the stock version of it, of course, it needs the stage one. As soon as you drive it off the lot, or even if you test ride it, you kind of hear the mundane sound of the stock pipes on these bikes. When you buy the bike, it needs work. It needs a stage one automatically. I mean, that's given. The Harley tag. If you're on the Facebook group, you've seen some of the complaints about this model. A lot of people have been complaining about the kickstand. I haven't had any issues with the kickstand. People were talking about noises in the swing arm bearing. I haven't had any issues of that on my bike, so I don't know about that. But one issue that I have, or that I'm still having, is just the front rotors. I guess they're not true, and unfortunately, Harley-Davidson has a spec where if it's not over 0.08 of an inch, not true or 1/0, then they're in spec of Harley-Davidson's requirements. So even though I'm having this pulsating of the front brakes, they're not going to replace them. They're not going to fix them. 1 year of ownership of my lowrider, I can tell you right now, I wouldn't change much. Maybe the engine guard, that's a complaint that I had. The air filter, the air breather, it's not a huge complaint, honestly. But you know what? I did have my eye on a few different air filters, air breathers, and I'd probably look at a SNS or one of those mini teardrops, or one of their new ones. I don't know if you guys seen it. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a mini teardrop with the center of the teardrop being uncovered. It looks really nice. I like the look of it, quite honestly. So you know what? I think that would be the only thing I'd consider changing on this bike: the engine guard and the air filter. Like I mentioned before on another video, this is my first ABS, my first fuel injected bike. This is officially my first modern bike. I've always had used bikes. I've always had junk bikes, cheap bikes, and like I mentioned earlier, it's just it was a whole cost thing. To be able to afford such a machine like this, it's just it was completely out of my reach. So, and I mentioned in some of the other videos, if you guys are looking at something like this, put in that overtime. You just got to keep on working. So a lot of people want stuff handed to them. So it doesn't work like that. I mean, with what's going on, I don't know. But as far as I know, and as far as I was raised, nothing was handed to us. Nothing was handed to you. So you just have to work for it. But I digress. Let's just keep on talking about the bike. It's got the gear indicator. It's got a couple of nice features. You have you have your trip. You have your fuel gauge. That's something that I didn't have on any of my other bikes. You have a fuel gauge meter. You have the indicator, and you have a couple other lights. It doesn't have a fuel. It doesn't have a tire pressure gauge or sensor or anything like that. I believe some of the touring models have that. I believe Night King was talking about that in one of his videos. He has a tire pressure gauge sensor on his bike, but that I know of, I don't think this bike has that. My Softail. Everything about the bike has been amazing, quite honestly, and even though I'm paying all these extra fees because it's a new bike, and the whole insurance thing, and and everything else. You just kind of have to decide that, you know, does all this money that you're going to be putting into outweigh, you know, your hobby, your hobby? Because let's admit it, here in the United States, these are not necessities by any means. They're not necessities at all. I'm gonna tell you guys one thing. Before this bike, my insurance per year for two bikes, my Harley-Davidson and my Metric, for two bikes, I was paying $105 a year. All right, listen to this. That was $105 for the year, 12 months. And since buying this bike, I'm now paying $126 a month. So you guys let me know in the comments, is that worth it, paying 10 times more on your insurance? You know, all of this is all stuff that I factored in, you know, after doing my research, you know, 3 years of research, of looking at, you know, Softails, the M8 engines, you know, seeing some of the other issues that they were having at the beginning, you know, with the early engines. The Softail touring models, they have some oil pump issues still, and I don't think Harley-Davidson's going to recall those bikes anytime soon. And there's, you know, there seems to be some other oil feed issues with the bike. Same thing, I just believe it's something with the touring models because of the long miles that they put down on them, something with the primary fluid and the engine fluid. You know, there's some other issues, but I haven't dealt with any of those, so, you know, I can't tell you guys about any of that. So $250 a month, you know, plus the $126. Do you guys believe that a bike is worth, you know, paying $350 just to ride it? You guys calculate that per day. I can't do the math off the top of my head, so you guys just let me know in the comments. Is that something that you guys are willing to do? You know, to have a motorcycle like this? Well, not like this, not with the parts or anything like that. The parts are still thousands and thousands of dollars on top. You know, just share your comments down below. I'm just curious to see what you guys are going to end up writing. You guys just stay out there, stay safe. Don't believe everything you read. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.